The final weekend before game week 1 has proved to be the most essential period to gather information, and in today's video I'm going to tell you everything that you may have missed, because it is going to be absolutely imperative to how you build your game week 1 teams, because there have been some hidden gems that have been unveiled. So as always, if you're looking forward to today's video, make sure you drop a like, aim for 300, and if you haven't already, make sure you do smash that subscribe button. Enough waffling, let's get into today's video. So kicking things off with Man City, because we haven't actually seen them since the Club World Cup, and a bit weirdly, they're only having one friendly, which they played yesterday against Palermo. Not exactly a tough opposition, and they're going straight into game week 1. So hopefully they're doing some things behind the scenes, because it isn't great from an FPL perspective. It feels like they are going to be a little bit undercooked. Now, I've put up the team that they kicked off the game with. You can see some of the big guns in the team. We had Haaland start, who of course got a goal from one shot. Cherky playing in the 10. Marmoush operating in central zones. And also Oscar Bob. Great to see him back in the team. And the fullbacks of Lewis and Aït-Nouri. So, first and foremost, in terms of the game, in the first half, we had Erling Haaland score one goal from one shot, which is kind of Erling Haaland things that has been over the last 12 months. And in terms of Aït-Nouri, I'm going to put up a touch heat map here because he's the first one that I really want to take a look at. Now, in terms of where he operated on the field, you can see the number 21. That is Reijnders Aït-Nouri, and there ain't no defending with Reijnders Aït-Nouri in this touch heat map. Very, very advanced. Not as wide as what we were expecting, but still very much up alongside the front three, which is really exciting to see. And at 6 million, I've been very hesitant to be behind the pick of Aït-Nouri because I think defensively, I'm still not fully with Man City. I don't think they've ironed out all of their problems that we saw last season. But if he is getting into these positions, and we saw him have one block shot in this game, I do think at 6 million, he might actually become one of those players that is just a goal-scoring threat in all of these fixtures coming up. But I still think he's one to avoid because I am a little bit cautious that in certain games we might see a centre-back go out on that side. But Man City fans, let me know in the comment section if I am wrong there. Now, it's all about the second half in this game because as you can see here, Reijnders came on in the second half, who of course is 5.5 million and ended up scoring 2 goals from 4 shots. Now look, let's not jump the gun here. It's not like they were playing a tough team. Palermo is nothing that Man City are going to be up against in the Premier League. So let's not all sit here and think 5.5 million Reijnders is essential. But we're going to put the touch heat map here for Reijnders in that second half. And you can see very, very advanced. 4 shots, 2 goals as we discussed. And it's a player that actually had some significant goals and assists in their last league campaign. So I don't think we have to look at Reijnders and think this is a Nico Gonzalez 2.0. This is very much an 8, a guy who can operate deep and also can progress into the final third and score goals. So a little bit like a reimagined Gundogan to an extent. So he isn't going to be playing in that 3 of Oscar Bob or Cherky. And I do think with the injury to Rodrigo looking like he could be out till September, Reijnders is going to play a really big part in this Man City team. So personally, at 5.5 million, I know he scored a brace and it might feel like he's jumping the gun, but we do have to consider Reijnders alongside the likes of an Anderson because I think the goal threat that Reijnders possesses could be slightly higher than that of Anderson, but we don't really know what the defensive contributions are going to be of that of Reijnders. So I know a lot of people are going to jump the gun and bring him into their teams. I actually don't mind it, but remember they were playing Palmero. It wasn't like it was a tough game. Few other standout things. Trafford made his debut at 5 million. Great, but I still think he's in a void. Ederson is absolutely going to get minutes. My understanding is Ederson is still the number 1. But of course, if Trafford starts the season, then we have to assume that he is the number 1. But this is the problem. The lack of preseason information is my issue. So in terms of the players available to us, I still think Marmoush is a consideration for those who want to go there. But who's to say Doku doesn't come in one of the games? Who's to say Phil Foden doesn't take a position in this team? I think Haaland is still a great investment if you want to go without Mo Salah. And I do like the punt on Reijnders Aït-Nouri if you want to go there as a left-back offensive. And I still think Reijnders could be a surprise package, even though these 2 goals are going to get the bandwagon going. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm still behind Mo Salah as opposed to Erling Haaland as a premium. and I'm still slightly against 8 Norway because I think Man City will concede goals over these fixtures. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next up, we got the Arsenal. Now, this was probably what felt to be an important win for them going into game week 1, because I feel amongst the fan base there's been a little bit of worry about them, the transfer policy that they've had, maybe the actual way they've gone about business. But this was a comfortable win, 3-0 up against Athletic Club. Again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This isn't like a top bracket team, but it's still a good win for Arsenal, and a starting 11 that felt very close to what they're going to be in game week 1. So I do feel we can actually take a lot of valuable information from this game. Now, first up, the important thing, new signing Gyokeres got his first goal, started the game, and importantly scored a great header, to be honest, and something that I think we are going to see a lot of. There's no doubt Gyokeres is going to score goals in this Arsenal team. However, the problem is going to be the man who might take some minutes away from him, and that is going to be Kai Havertz. Came off the bench, obviously, had a slight niggle during pre-season, back off the bench, scored a really good goal, and I personally think there is still going to be competition for this Gyokeres shirt. Do I think Gyokeres starts the season? Yes, I do, but Arsenal fans know deep down that at times they're a better side with Havertz in the team, the way that he links up and connects the play. So there's going to be games where Gyokeres is going to be absolutely essential for them. But there's going to be others where Kai Havertz is needed. So I get it. I still think Gyokeres is a nice pick if you want to go there. But I would not be surprised if over these 6 game weeks, we saw minutes significantly shared between the two players. So just tread carefully if going Gyokeres, because I think this goal is going to accelerate the bandwagon towards him. And while I still think he might start game week 1 and 2, would I be surprised if they leant towards the experience a little bit of Kai Havertz in the Premier League against Liverpool and against City? I wouldn't. So just be cautious with Gyokeres, but I get it. The bandwagon probably is picking up with him. Next up, Saka just reminded us of his ability. Goal and assist in this game being completely overlooked in these opening game weeks because, of course, Cole Palmer and Salah being the popular pick. So if you want to be a little bit different, I have no concerns about people going Bukayo Saka. The fixtures, Man United have still looked a little bit drab in pre-season, I'm going to be honest. Leeds at home in game week 2, a captaincy option. Game week 3, tricky away against Liverpool. 4 against a resolute Forest defence and 5 against Man City, where I do think there will be goals in that game. So I still think it's difficult to squeeze Saka in, but I do like him as a differential pick. Now, in terms of the defenders, we're going to put up the defensive contributions from this game. Please do ignore Zubimendi. We're just focusing on Saliba, Ben White, Gabriel. Now, first thing, Gabriel back, which is so important for these clean sheets for Arsenal, and also as an FPL pick. Those that managers are going for Virgil van Dijk, if you want an alternative, Gabriel is now there for us. However, look at the defensive contributions. Yes, it wasn't a tricky game, but what we saw in the data last season and the season before is that it's going to be tough for these Arsenal defenders to hit 10 defensive contributions because they're just such a good team at just absorbing pressure and not really having to do all the stuff that accumulates these numbers. So I don't think we're buying Arsenal players for the defensive contributions. We're buying them for the clean sheets and maybe the odd goal from set pieces. And when I look at the fixtures, even though I think Arsenal could shut up shop and get some clean sheets along the way, they're not ideal fixtures, to be honest with you. They're tough for the opening 6 game weeks. Calaflori starting at left back is a problem for Lewis Skelly owners. I do think Calaflori brings something different out there. So I do think Lewis Skelly isn't as secure as what he was last year. And as I discussed, the low defensive contributions for those defenders, I will say standout performance as well from Zubimendi. I think that's just going to bring Arsenal up a level in terms of just dictating the game. So all in all, a really positive performance from Arsenal. Have I seen enough from Gyokeres for me to want to jump from Watkins to Gyokeres? Not really. But it's maybe think that maybe the clean sheets are actually going to be more regular in this period than what I first thought. Because Man United is still not clicking. Forest haven't been scoring goals. Newcastle are all over the place right now. So maybe just investing in an Arsenal defender and just being done with it maybe is a little bit of a sneaky way that managers can go in game week 1. And let me know in the comment section what you've observed in this game. Next up, we got Man United. Now, there is a lot to talk about Man United here, but we're going to try and keep it a little bit more concise. Otherwise, I might be talking for 10 minutes. So they had their game up against Fiorentina, draw in 1-1. That's it now for the season in preparation for game week 1. Now, of course, we've had Sesko been unveiled. He will be available for Man United, but whether he's going to be available for game week 1, I will be astonished if that is the case. So it's going to take a few weeks before we actually see Sesko up and running as a Man United player. And of course, they are still trying to get in someone like a Belieber to play centre mid alongside Bruno Fernandes. So this team is still a little bit in flux. We don't know exactly what that best 11 is going to look like for Amorim, but this 3-4-3, 3-5-2, however you want to look at it, is still going to be a thing. It isn't going anywhere, and it has slightly concerned some Man United fans. It wasn't the best performance against Fiorentina. I've seen a few worrying signs, to be honest with you. But, however, we're looking at FPL. Bruno Fernandes with 12 defensive contributions in this game. To be honest, in terms of the tackles and all that, not really that good, but it's the recoveries where these midfielders are going to get the good stuff. And Bruno Fernandes had 9 in this game, and I just think that's going to be a consistent thing throughout this season. So when we actually look at it, Bruno Fernandes played the 90 minutes, so that would have been 2 points. He would have got 2 defensive contribution points, 4 total. He got an assist, that would have got him 7. And inevitably, he would have picked up some bonus points along the way. So really, he's probably looking at a 9-pointer in this game alone, just for getting an assist and doing all of the good work in the team. So that is why Bruno Fernandes is so popular right now, and the bandwagon is starting to pick up, because we just have another string to the bow for Bruno Fernandes. Now, the only concern is, I'll put the touch heat map here, is where he's operating. Now, I see some people saying to me, yes, Nacho, but it's Bruno Fernandes, he pops up everywhere. And we saw that with the assist, but him playing alongside Casemiro, or whether this could be Mainu or whatever, it just doesn't fill me with absolute delight. Now, I know at times he might play in the number 10, and we might see Mbeumo and Cunha as 2 forwards. But once Sesko does come into the team, it's very clear that it is going to be Sesko, Cunha, and Mbeumo on the right. And he's going to play a double pivot. I don't believe that a number 10 is going to exist in this formation. And if we do see Bruno Fernandes playing in this double pivot, I have no real worries about him accumulating the defensive contributions, but is the attacking threat going to be there? I just don't really know right now. 2 shots for Cunha, 1 for Mbeumo, not really exciting stuff. And I've kind of highlighted my worries here. They're desperate for a centre mid. Casemiro just does the same stuff as Bruno Fernandes with the clips over the top and all. They're not really building up phases of play because they're both just don't have that kind of ability in their locker. And the Sesko uncertainty on what that team structure is going to do is a slight hesitation. So all in all, I think Man United are a wait and see for the most. The fixtures aren't good. Arsenal, Fulham, Burnley in game week 3, fantastic. But then City, Chelsea, they're not incredible in the opening 5. However, I do think Bruno Fernandes is the one outlier. I absolutely understand managers going there. I, for one, have him in my team right now. But I need to understand whether Man United are actually just still in a little bit of flux and aren't really as good as what I'm perceiving right now. Can he carry this team once again? Or do they have players that actually don't require him to carry the team on his back? Cunha can do that. Mbeumo can do that. Sesko can do that. So maybe the goal share actually moves away from Bruno Fernandes. And then for 9 million... do we just have a double pivot player who is on penalties, albeit, but just racking up defensive contributions? And is that a player we want? So lots to think about. Not the most promising sign, even though he got the defensive contributions, but he has been good in pre-season all in all, and he is currently in my team. Is he in yours? So moving over to some of the teams that are expected to be in the bottom half of the league, but it doesn't mean that they don't have viable FPL options, and one of those is going to be Everton. So they had their game yesterday up against Roma, and I would say they played close to their starting 11 for game week 1. Pickford between the sticks, Mykolenko, who did go off injured, so we need to monitor that one. Of course, they have got a new signing that will be competing with Mykolenko at left back, so one to keep an eye on. Branthwaite and Tarkowski at centre backs, O'Brien at right back, a double pivot of Garner and Idrissa Gueye, Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall new signing, and Gyokeres on the right, with Barry, of course, the new summer signing up front. So first and foremost, we need to talk about Dewsbury Hall. I'll put up the touch heat map here for him in this game because it was his debut, operating very much as a number 10 right alongside Barry, as you can see. Plenty of touches all around the pitch, and for anybody that is a Chelsea fan like myself that watched him last season, whenever he played for Chelsea, he done the job. Yes, he wasn't at the level of a Cole Palmer, but he could be as important for Everton as what Palmer is for Chelsea. I'm going to put it out there. I really think Dewsbury Hall has those characteristics where he can do all of the action stuff, but also be a creative force in that team. No, he isn't going to have a Cole Palmer season, but I think his importance in this team could possibly be at that level. And what I've seen from Everton fans, they are really excited about this signing. And I don't think there's any expectation for him to be a rotational player. I think they've brought him in to be that number 10 in this system, very much with a double pivot behind him. So whereas I spoke about Bruno Fernandes being the double pivot, Dewsbury Hall in this case is going to be the number 10. So I think the returns are going to come for Dewsbury Hall. Now, in this game in particular, I didn't see anything to say to myself, oh my God, a central player, goal, assist. But it's only one game. And playing as a number 10 in this system is exciting. Now, of course, the thing about it is that everybody's going for Ndai, who I do think over the course of a season may very well still be a better pick. But he's 1.5 million more expensive. Yes, he does have penalties, and yes, he did have a big chance in this game, and I could see that situation where maybe Dewsbury Hall links up for Ndai to create the goal and score. But I think at 1.5 million cheaper, maybe Dewsbury Hall is the man that we want to own. Now, the big thing that I took away from this and all the other preseason games, this isn't just a one-game evaluation, is Beto's in a void. I think you could get him for the Leeds game, but what we're going to see is 60 minutes Beto, 30 minutes Barry, 60 minutes Barry, 30 minutes Beto. You get where I'm coming from. If you own Beto for a bench boost in game week 1, you got a problem beyond that because he is going to be a huge minutes risk. And what I saw from Barry is the exact same as Beto. Big guy, athletic, little bit raw in the final third. So I think it's just going to be whichever one looks good in the moment. Maybe David Moyes will play. So we don't know exactly who's going to be the number 9. The big thing as well, we know Everton are great for defensive contributions. That was basically how FPL promoted the whole new introduction. I'll put up the numbers that they put up in this Roma game. Tarkowski with 14 defensive contributions, 6 clearances, 3 block shots, 3 interceptions. Branthwaite as well, hitting 11. The problem is, of course, being 5.5 million, but the fixtures we know are really good. I haven't had any Everton in my team. Seeing O'Brien really lowly down there means that we can't really go cheap with them. It's the centre-backs or nobody, really. But if you want to go there, I still think Everton are fantastic for those defensive contributions. It's just, do we think they get clean sheets over this period? And I'm a little bit more hesitant. So all in all, Everton looking good and Dewsbury Hall at 5 million looks great. So finally, the team that also interests me a little bit is going to be West Ham because we've had some high ownership in some of their players and we need to understand now, are they actually wanting to be in our game week 1 team? So we had the final game for them up against Lille where we had a late goal from Fulkrug, which was his 3rd of pre-season. Remember, he's only 6 million in the game and he's had really good minutes. I think Fulkrug came into the Premier League with a decent reputation. Got that big injury, basically missed all of the season, came back, done some okay things, but clearly wasn't match fit. I really do think they've got a really proven forward in this West Ham team, and I think he is going massively under the radar. I've just got to understand whether he actually is a little bit injury prone or whether that injury that he sustained last season was just a bit of a fluke. So a bit more deep dive into the injury records for me. But I do think that this guy is flying under the radar, and the alternatives to West Ham don't really exist. So Fulkrug, keep him on your watch list up until game week 1. This could be a little bit of a nice sneaky one. In terms of the team that they played against Lille, as you can see, it fluctuated a little bit. Paqueta dropping into the 10, playing left side almost of a half space, but Paqueta and Bowen alongside Fulkrug in a front 3, wing backs of Diouf and Wan-Bissaka. Everybody outside of that you don't even want to consider. So Diouf, hugely of a differential as opposed to Wan-Bissaka, and what I've seen in pre-season, Diouf kind of gives whatever Wan-Bissaka can. Wan-Bissaka picked up 6 assists last season, 2 goals, but historically we know Wan-Bissaka has been a little bit erratic in the final third, and what I've seen from Diouf, he offers a decent delivery. So if you want to roll the dice and have a West Ham defender, I'd almost be tempted just to say to myself, let's just go Diouf in these opening weeks, because it's not like Wan-Bissaka is one of those where he's absolutely essential for that team, like a Danny Munoz versus Mitchell. So I think that assists could come from either side. You can't really predict it, what I've seen in pre-season. As we discussed, Fulkrug flying under the radar, one to think about. However, when we look at the fixtures, game week 1's great against Sunderland. I think he could do well in that game. But then Chelsea, Forest, Spurs, Palace, Everton, I think they're mixed. But what I'm seeing right now is not an excitement about West Ham for me to really want to invest in their attack. Now, in terms of the goalkeeper, because Areola was getting a little bit of ownership, avoid. Harmison from Leicester has been signed as their number 1. I'll be astonished if they spent that much money and isn't the number 1. So avoid Areola, and I think Harmison will improve West Ham. I think he was a really good goalkeeper in his time in the Premier League. And finally, Jarrod Bowen. You know what you're getting with Jarrod Bowen. Talisman in that team. He's 8 million, so he's a little bit more expensive. 2 goals, 2 assists in pre-season. What I'm trying to understand is that, is Fulkrug doing everything Bowen can do at 2 million less? I think over the course of the season, the answer is no. I think Bowen comfortably outscores Fulkrug. But if you want to open the season with West Ham attacker, and the way that managers are investing money in the defence, Fulkrug at 6 million actually could be a tasty pick. So my kind of general thought process is Juve over Wan-Bissaka just because he's so significantly less owned and it feels like it's a great differential opportunity. And Fulkrug, if you're going for this whole strategy of cheap forwards, needs to be on your radar. Yes guys, okay, so that's going to wrap up today's video looking at the 5 teams that have impressed me over the last 24 hours, or at least offer some FPL options. Now, I haven't touched on the beloved Chelsea, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, because of course Chelsea play today and Crystal Palace Liverpool feature in the Community Shield, so we can gain some more information about that. And I might be doing a live stream tonight reflecting on those games, so if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you are aware when I am going live. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider dropping a like, and of course, any questions, any thoughts, pop them in the comment section. I'll be sure to get to them. Have an amazing day. Take care, and I'll see you real soon. Cheers.